Hello and welcome to another one of my narrated rolling sessions, where I look at videos of me rolling with my friends Jason and Gosha in their home dojo. Now this particular session I really wanted to focus on my guard pulling, because the last video I posted showed a series of really bad guard pull attempts. I mean really bad. I was so shamed by them that after analysis of the video I realized what I was doing wrong. And you'll see where I pick up and correct the problems and do better guard pulling. And not only better guard pulling, I wanted to focus on pulling to a very proactive guard where I could attack back. So we'll pick it up about 3 minutes in. I'm rolling with Jason here, and we're going to have a look at what happens here. So a little bit of grip fighting, and I go straight into the guard pull. So for those of you who aren't quite familiar with guard pulling, let's go over the steps here and work through them bit by bit. Now, last time I showed a video of me doing bad guard pulls, I just pulled guard. I just stuck my foot in the hip and then pulled him down. And the problem with that is that it's very linear, and there's no tension, there's no attempt to really unbalance him. And there's a lot of problems with that. I mean, against a less experienced opponent you can get away with that, but against purple belt, someone like Jason's standard and quality, he's gonna see that coming a mile away. So the aim here really is to see this foot here. I want to bring that across my body line, and across his body line, so I can then, as I step across, create a rotational force down to the ground. And you see as there we go. So that's what happens here. I stepped from here to here in between his legs. Not the best in the world, but enough to create a rotational force. My left leg I'm putting up and I'm pushing past his hip line. I'm not actually going to put it on his hip. I think the reason for that is that I was probably worried that he was going to use his hand, which I hadn't securely gripped his sleeve, to take apart my foot position. So you can swing your leg like a pendulum all the way past this hip line and still get the guard pull here. Alright, so that was interesting. And I'm in the sort, so I'm trying to fashion for a guard here. I'm going for inside hooks there. Foot on the hip very consistently there. He's already working a guard pass there, but I'm wise to that. Strong collar grip, breaking his posture line. Making my legs sort of active. See how active my legs are. I don't let him settle with any of these grips. So it's a battle for control, really. Now, at this point, Jason sits in a combat base here, and that immediately was a trigger for me to think, well, I can stick my leg through this gap here. See where his belt is dangling. For a De La Riva guard. Not only a De La Riva guard, but when someone's in combat base here, I think, well, why not do a really deep De La Riva guard and try a De La Riva X-guard, which is where this leg, my left leg, swings in and hooks underneath his foot. Let's see what happens here. So we're grip fighting, and here he goes, steps in, and that's a trigger for me to, I'm starting to put this foot on his thigh here, and my right leg, which you can't see, is going to insert around his leg onto his hip line here. Let's have a look. There we go. Now, deep De La Riva with the X-guard is a really nice guard, and it's not just for those with long legs. I don't have very long legs. It's all about the positioning and the angle, and it really sort of traps his legs, especially when he's in this combat base position here. And notice Jason is putting his hand on the ground, so he's already realised that there's an instability here. He's in danger of being swept, and I can sweep over my head, in this direction, in that direction. I think I can even push backwards. It's been a while since I played it, so I think I was figuring out what to do. So it didn't really come to anything, but let's have a look what happens. I'm just tugging away, again keeping the X-guard De La Riva X position there, which is a bit annoying for Jason. A bit of grip fighting. Oh, that's right, yes. So what I do from there is I get rid of the De La Riva hook, step back and get up in technical stand-up and try and pass guard. And so we have a little play from there. So that is a better guard pull. into a more effective active guard, in this case the DLR X-guard, where I wasn't able to sweep, but I was at least able to come up and stand up and try and pass guards. So it's a more aggressive, dominating position with which to be in. We're going to move on to another roll with Gosha. Let's have a look. Let's have a look at a roll with Gosha. That's not here. So we're going to move on to my roll with Gosha and show you the guard pull here. I'm in a bit of a lower stance. I really want to. My aim is to grab her left collar with my right hand and her sleeve with my left hand. It's very, very basic, you know, nothing special about that particular strategy. But again, I'm really conscious of the fact that I want to put my foot across the body line. And in fact, I do that so much in this particular round. You'll see what happens here. Coming up. There. And I sit down into... Oh, I actually get a sweep out of it. That's nice. We'll just rewind it. So I want to show you what happened there. So this foot here is planted, if you sort of imagine the perspective here, at the same line as her left leg here. And I want to step that across. But I'm so keen to do that I actually step on her foot. Have a look. There. See what I've done? I've stepped on her foot. It wasn't done on purpose. Such was my enthusiasm to step across the body line that I ended up stepping her foot, which gave me what I wanted. I got the rotation. And this leg swings around like a pendulum and forces her down to the ground. And the rotation was so strong that in many respects the sweep was more an accident, because although I've got a hook in here, Gosha was rotating this direction, so the sweep all happened, all the force, the movement is in this direction here, and you see that there. Then we got the sweep into mount. We're going to move on to 14 minutes. Let's have a look. Because there is a nice deep de la Riva that I do. So a little bit of the action is off screen here. Now from here, Gosha sort of stands up. It's not quite combat based, but it's a very low stance. It's presenting this leading leg, which again gives me a trigger to play the de la Riva guard. Whenever somebody leads with their bent leg like this, you can hook your foot underneath. A little bit more guard play. She's grabbing hold of my ankle. Good work. I'm just being a bit stubborn here. There we go. I've inserted the de la Riva hook on this leg actually. And notice how Gosha's knee is pointing towards the wall here. And that's what you really want to do. You can't just insert your de la Riva and not affect the standing leg. You really want to try and make sure it's bending away from you here. And then there's the sweep. And time runs out. I'm going to move it up to 17 minutes here, where I use another... this is a roll with Jason now, and I use another de la Riva X-guard, which I think I do a better job on this one. Let's have a look. It's worth the view. So we're going up to 17 minutes 27. Okay, so we're starting the roll here, and we kick it off here. So again, that's by now I'm sort of nicely used to that rotational guard pulling. No cock ups from me on this particular one. See how I'm stepping across. Oh, actually I was a bit lazy. I didn't really step across. I kind of got away with that one. Haha, bad guard. But here I'm inserting the de la Riva hook. I'm grabbing the ankle, really turning the ankle as well. Really notice the way Jason's toes are pointing there. And let's see if I can successfully get the X portion of it in as well. Yes, you can see my foot there, so there's the X portion of it, the X guard portion. So Jason's trying to put his weight and climb over me, and I sort of invert, kind kind of making it up as I go along, I'll be honest. It's I know it sort of looks berimbolo-ish, but I'm really bad at the berimbolo. We sort of play around with some footsie, see if anything interesting comes out of this. Can't quite remember what happened really. Okay, nothing much happens there. So anyway, I just wanted to show that as that I was continuing the theme throughout our session to always try and pull guard, and not only that, to try and work a De La Riva guard, and in this particular instance also De La Riva with X-guard, which I find very, very effective. We'll have a look at some more in a minute. I'm just going to pause and we're going to have a look at some more. Okay, so we just started with this roll with Gosha here, and I want to show this example. I wasn't quite consistent with my guard pulling in that day. Here's an example of a sort of a lazy guard pull, which I should have been punished for, but luckily I wasn't. So there, I go back to my old bad ways, and I just plonk my bum on the floor, just use brute force to pull her into my open guard. There. So if I go over that, I should have been. Last time I did that on Jason, he swept my foot away and passed my guard. So not the best way. You can see I'm already sort of in this sort of seated position here and just pulling down. There's no attempt to step across the body line. There's no attempt to rotate. I'm facing the same direction as I was when I started the pulling maneuver, which again is a sign that you're not using any rotational force. So I kind of get away with it because Gosha's hand is occupied with gripping my collar. Had she have removed that and started batting away my foot that's on her hip, she actually would have got a very nice potential guard pass around my left side of my body. So luckily I get away with it, and I play sort of an extended open range, long range guard here. Not the best work, I'll be honest. There. Okay, we'll leave it there. I'll move on to 6 minutes in, because there's a De La Riva X-guard which I use. I was really trying to be consistent and use it a lot today. Right, so at 6 minutes 9. Okay, so here we go. From at this point, Gosh is not even in combat base, and I wonder what my thought process was here. Let's have a look. Yeah, so with this sort of standing up stance, there's a lot of space here, particularly on the leg that's nearest me, where I can swing a leg around for a De La Riva guard. Let's see if I do that. That's it. So I grab her Achilles hand, pull it closer to me, which also allows me to bring my body closer to her leg, and that gives me the angle with which to insert the De La Riva hook. There we go, and I'm really trying to reach for her far hip. The De La Riva X is not really secure unless you can get your foot, your De La Riva hook foot, on that far hip there, really nestled in there. And as a bonus, if you can get your X-guard foot neatly tucked in behind the knee, then you're onto a winner really. And let's see what happens there. Yes, I sweep her backwards. So yeah, that was just we'll leave it there. That was just a nice example of a De La Riva X-guard sweep that went right. Okay, just put the pause there and put another video on. Okay, I just switched the video and we're back to a new roll. This one I just want to show quickly because in this roll with Gosha I decided to give up on my previous guard pulling antics, and I thought I'd try and mix it up a bit, and in this case I am trying to go for the single leg X guard pull because I like footlocks, so I really want to try and get a straight ankle lock. Let's see if it works. Bit of grip fighting, and I'm looking for that trigger point, that moment where I can get that right grip and pull the single leg X guard, which I do here. I get a sort of trying to sweep, but really what I'm trying to do is reach around for the ankle. Bosha puts a weight on me, which is a good tactic to stop me doing, but I'm still, you can see I'm reaching around the ankle here, fashioning the footlock, just being a bit patient. and as I'm incrementally moving around, not letting that foot go, I'm just waiting for that right angle of attack. There we go, we get the tap. So I just want to go back to the beginning of that guard pull, since the theme of this video is guard pulling. I want to show you how, because it's the first one of my single leg X guard pulls, it's not slick, it's not that good. But what I'm doing is, when I'm doing the stand up, I'm looking for a space between her legs, and when there's space between them, I want to put both of my feet as far into her center of gravity as possible, even further past her body line. But there's two parts to the single leg X guard pull. I have to fall in a transverse direction to the way I'm pulling her. Let's have a look there. So I fall in this direction here. See where my feet are, by the way? Gosha's foot line is here. That's where she was standing, in this sort of tangent. And I want to go beyond that tangent, past her hip line. And I fall in this direction here, but I'm pulling her in the direction towards the camera. Okay, it's probably not the best still with which to see that, but that's the idea. I don't want to pull her on top of me, because that would be a disaster. So we just, there we go. So I sort of get away with it here. See, I'm already inserting my knee, and this foot here I'm going to pop on over onto her hip for the classic single leg X. There we go, and everything goes to plan. Luckily, I kind of got away with that. Later on in that same round, I pull single leg X again, and we're just going to move it to 1 minute 43. We start again because I've got the submission. So with the start of poor Gosha, I go for the single leg X again. I just thought, well, I want another practice, let's go for it. In this case, I do a better job, and we'll see why. Here we go, and it's a tap. So again, I just want to look at how I pull that single leg X, because I think I do a better job there. So see how wide the gap is there? That's a trigger for me. I see that wide gap, and I just jump almost both feet in to this space here, and I really make an attempt to pull so that I am as in a different direction to the way that she's going. So here I jump in. Look at where my feet are over here. Great job. You want that invasion there, that penetration. And I'm falling where I'm sort of falling towards this direction where my headline, and I'm pulling Gosha towards this. So it's not too bad. There's an angle of about, I'd say, 30 degrees here. There. And immediately I lift up my shin and my foot to secure the single leg X. I get the foot's encirclement as early as I can, and I get a tap. So for me, I think that was a much better single leg X guard pull there. Okay, we'll leave it there. I'm going to show one more, the final round I have, this time with Jason, where I push kind of, it's very tired, it's towards the end of the session, but I really try and make a concerted effort to really pull that guard so that I get into a really good De La Riva or De La Riva X, and really try and fashion something constructive out of it. Because it's all too easy to pull guard and sort of play your grip game and play your guard interchange transition game, not really get anywhere. And the aim really is to get a sweep, get a submission, and really be more aggressive with it, which has always been my problem with past attempts at playing guard. So we'll move it up to 4 minutes 16, where I have a little, that's it. And it's worth showing the whole round here, so that we're having a right little Barney here. A little bit of a standoff here. He's got notice he's got a very strong stiff arm, which means I can neither go away from him or into him, or my only choice is really sort of to go around. I guess I could get rid of this grip and use the double hand sleeve grip and removal technique, but I find that has mixed results. Sometimes I can remove the grip, sometimes I can't. So I think my tactic is to rotate around. Yes, and in fact that suits me fine, because I get the guard pull in the way that we talked about before. Let's have a look. Yeah, so I do a mini step across the body line, not a really committed one. I should do better with that, but it's just enough to create a rotation. This time I put my foot on the hip. Remember the last couple of guard pulls I didn't put my foot on the hip, I put them past his hip line. But in this case I wanted a bit more of a secure grip because his stiff arm was so strong. Both feet on the hips. I'm just trying to establish some grip, some control over his body. I've broken his posture. He's trying to get rid of that foot, but I'm being sticky with it. That's the thing with playing open guard. You want to be as annoying as you can. That's the only concept I use, really. Sometimes I make up the grips and foot positions. I don't really know what I'm doing, but I figure if I can put my foot there, I know it's going to annoy him, and if it annoys him, then he's not attacking me. So that's really that's all it is. So I'm playing sleeve and collar, sleeve, collar, foot on the bicep. I'm kind of new to that guard game. It's all right. It's good fun. I know there's a lot of cool things you can do from here, but I don't really do anything with it other than just to annoy him. There we go. I think I'm trying to do a DLR. Yeah, I do a sort of a loose DLR there. Yeah, so I've got a shallow DLR. I've got a hand. You can't see it, but my hand is gripping his ankle, and I'm stretching him out. Let's see what happens. Yeah, I'm trying to go for the DLR X. He's got a really wide base here, so I'm not sure if I'm successful, but I'm trying anyway. I really should lift my hips a bit more. So it's kind of it's not the best DLR X-guard, I'll be honest. This foot isn't really on his hip very securely. I should sit up a bit more. So you see, I'm struggling a bit with the DLR X, but even a struggling version of it is quite secure here. So now well, in a way, he forced my hand. I sit up, and that gives me much more ability to control over the DLR X-guard here. So let's see what happens. Bit of grip battling. So again, a classic, if you like, visual reminder that the DLR X-guard is doing its job is if your opponent is doing this, basing his hand out. Because it's really hard to actually stand upright. You're so unbalanced, and in fact, if you do stand upright, you're going to get swept. So he knows that, so he bases out, which is not good for him. He can't really attack from there, or he has limited options. So I find he's based quite strongly. So I thought, let's grab that, see what happens. There, I get the sweep. And a bonus inside out footlock. My favourite footlock. So that was a summary, a compilation of the rolls today, and a lot of guard pulling, and a lot of DLR and DLR X-guard, to show that you can learn from watching your videos. I recommend you guys do it. Record your rolls. Analyze them, be critical, show them to someone else if you want another perspective, and I guarantee it's a really good way to learn and improve very quickly. You're almost like your own instructor in that respect, unless you're a complete beginner and you don't know what you're doing. But you know, you've got a video, you can show someone and get some opinions, or show me. I'm happy to narrate your roles if you want me to. Just sort of direct them to me. Okay, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I certainly learned from these, and I hope you learned something as well. Cheers, guys.